Welcome back. We're on episode 9. This episode is called Our Mission is to Heal. I'm Jen with my lovely wife, Jessica.
If you're still listening after last episode, I'm really pleased you came back.
Disclaimer then. Again, these episodes, our whole podcast is from our views only, from our perspective, from our hearts, and from our journeys. So this episode, Our Mission is to Heal, is we're going to talk about like our own healing journeys and essentially what we're shifting into with the new earth and how to help ourselves with our own ascension. So let's start with our own stories around our own healing work and how they relate to us as a whole, which encompass our own physical health, our emotional health, our mental health, and our spiritual health, because the 4 different quadrants make us whole. So do you want to start, Jess, to talk a little bit about some of your healing work?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that, I guess. Sure.
I think, your whole life is your whole healing journey, but we can talk about maybe some specifics, some major events that propelled us forward in healing.
Mm-hmm. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thanks.
This is, okay. I mean, I think... Bless you again.
Thanks.
I think first of all, like, just everybody has so much healing to do. And, like, I think it's funny because most people, I shouldn't say most people, I think a lot of people would disagree with that statement, that they don't have
Healing to do, but they don't have any work to do.
They're done. They've done all their work. Like, they're good to go. I had a conversation recently with someone who alluded to that fact, and I was just like, found it interesting. It's just an interesting statement, because even just someone like me who has done, has been working on stuff for a while, and I'll have another 45 years of working to go. But there's just a lot of people who think that they're good. And I think that's the kind of problem with where we are right now, is just that everybody, and I think what I mean by that is it's not from judgment. It's more like, okay, so personally me, I have childhood sexual trauma, among other traumatic things in my life. So I think there's a lot of people like me who would say, like, oh, who know what I'm talking about when I'm going to say this. Well, I had it like this, but I know people that had it way worse than me. Or I've heard of experiences and they were way worse than mine, right? So mine's not that bad. My trauma's not that bad.
Yeah, the spectrum of trauma and worthiness then is...
And I think we have to stop doing that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think we have to stop comparing our trauma. It's like comparing the color of our skin. Oh, I'm olive white. Oh, I'm snow white. Oh, I'm dark black. Oh, well, I'm better than you because I'm light black. It's like we have to stop comparing all of these things and just get down to the fact that we're human and we all have trauma, and everybody's trauma affects everybody differently, and everybody should be working on that, right? And accepting that trauma and working through it instead of mitigating it. You know, is that the right word?
Yeah, every trauma that we go through is part of our karmic work on moving higher into our own ascension. So when we do healing of our own traumas, we develop wisdom and we evolve more from it. I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, never waste a good trigger. Like, every trigger is an opportunity to heal. Every time your past comes up and you have a huge reaction, because triggers are what sends you back into the past of the same response. Learning to consciously choose a healthier response to our triggers is how we heal our past. So I forget what we were talking about before. I went on a rant.
No, it's okay. You asked me to talk about my my healing journey. So I don't know. That's one healing journey is childhood sexual trauma, and I'm continuously working through that, and I probably will be for. I think that I just don't think that's something that people are just like, oh, I'm healed, but I'm working on it. I mean, maybe some people are. That's cool. I wish, good for them. So I think like that though. I think the funny thing about like sexual trauma is nobody talks about healing that. I think probably half of women, based on statistics, have some kind of sexual trauma. And I don't think that we talk about healing as women. I think a lot of women have some kind of sexual trauma, whether it's like I think that also too, like our society right now, based on pornography, I think that there's a lot of men that are falsely led down pathways of what sex looks like. And then I think a lot of teenage girls are taking, and young 20s girls are taking the brunt of that, because I think that there's a lot of sexual encounters that are taking place that are just they might not be rape, but I think that there's like a blurred line between what really is sex. You know what I mean? Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, well, I think for both men and women, if they grew up watching porn or learning what sex is through porn, they're not learning what the sacredness of the union is. And whenever we have sexual encounters with somebody, we swap DNA. So it's, when we just freely give our body to people, we are just taking on their issue. We take on their energy.
Yeah. And I think of some of the sexual encounters that we have, and so I just think that there's already trauma even before, even if there's no rape involved. I think just a lot of women's sexual encounters are traumatic.
Just even the shame associated with sex and intimacy and sexuality. I think a big collective healing that's happening is around our divine masculine and our divine feminine and the sacredness of sex, because it is a way that we also go into transcendence too, when we have sacred union in that way. It's a way that we also raise our vibration and our consciousness. So like healing sexuality is a collective healing that's taking place around where we're learning how to be respectful of each other's bodies, including our own, and learning how not to just give our bodies away freely, but to learn to find the sacredness of our sexuality and the sacredness of sex, and how we can, when we do hit orgasm, we do hit a higher state of consciousness together, and that it can be, a state of like bliss of the cosmos, and that it's kind of like the tantric teachings, like learning like how to be in that state of higher frequency, higher consciousness in that sacred unionship. I think we're going more back to that. Like I'm hearing more and more of that kind of work, and I think that's starting to do a lot of healing around our sexuality. But I think for our culture is just highly sexualized. And, even Disney and stuff, there's a lot of sexualized things in it. And so, the more that we move away from all TV and programming and that kind of work, we do start to just come home to ourselves.
Yeah, I also think healing too is seeing it. Right? Like understanding it, like the whole, even like in the last episode, we talked about dressing more conservatively and treating ourselves with respect. And I think that is healing, right? I think that when you start to understand that they want you to be though in that way, that once you understand that truly loving yourself is is showing yourself respect, you're healing in that too.
All right, so then let's think about, why is healing so important? Why is it so important? Well, we are nature. Literally, human in Latin means earthy. We are nature ourselves, and nature only knows how to adapt and heal. And so for anybody who associates themselves as their dis-ease, as their illness, is now taking on that as their identity and diminishing what their abilities are to heal. Their profound nature is healing. And, you know, if you have Crohn's disease and you say, well, I have a disease. I'm living with Crohn's, and my life is around Crohn's and my sickness, and I have to eat for this, and this is my life. And I was in the hospital. And you are taking on that identity as that you are.
You are the victim of that disease. Just like I could live my life saying, oh, I'm a victim of childhood sexual trauma. Oh, I can't have a normal relationship in life. Oh, it's so interesting how people love to take on that diagnosis. They love to, and I think, again, that's healing in itself too. Once I learned that that's not me, that I am not that, and you can take that away, it's already like a huge weight. You're already healing just by not being that.
Your body, when you're in such a high state of frequency, like especially when working with certain like plant medicines, your consciousness is shifting. And so, you know, our physical body's in 3D, but when we're working in higher states of consciousness, we elevate our body into like 4D or 5D energy. And when we're there, anything of low frequency, like disease and illness and stuff, it can't live in those states. It can't live in that low vibration or in that high vibration. So it doesn't match. It doesn't align. So when we are elevating ourselves, when we are living and honoring ourselves in our being every single day, and finding ways that we nourish our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, and our physical health, and we're doing the whole wellness, we are not in low states of frequency where disease lives. We are clearing as it happens. Whatever we need to clear, we are feeling we're moving through it. And so that's like, it's a constant state of being well that we're striving for, to keep ourselves in a higher state of homeostasis. The other part of that is that if you've grown up in chaos, if you've grown up in a stressful home,
If you're from where I'm from and you're Italian, your dad's Italian.
yeah, but I mean, even my own upbringing, I lived in a state of fight or flight constantly, just because there was so much intergenerational trauma where there was no self-regulation taught. My baseline was stress. And so learning, and like even into my adulthood, I only took on stressful jobs. I only took on things that were stressful because that was my baseline. That's what I knew. And learning that I can also be free from living in a state of fight or flight, I have to learn a new homeostasis of calm, like to learn what calm feels like, to learn what content feels like, to learn what relaxation feels like, or even just to not always be with the monkey mind and going and rushing to the next thing, but learning to move mindfully. That learning to get there is part of my healing journey into a new state of homeostasis, a new state of being.
Yeah. Well, you do it really well.
It takes
Most
effort.
of the time. Most of the time.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. Most of the time you do it really well, and it's good to be around.
I know, like, you always joke about with me because I'm always healing. I'm not always healing, because sometimes I choose to default. And I will consciously say I'm defaulting today.
And then I have to flip. I'm like crying.
Aww.
Yeah.
Why?
Because 90% of the time you're in a really you're practicing that really well. And then it forces me to practice, and it makes me feel safe. But then 10% of the time it's flipped, and then I try to offer you that same
balance. The support. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
This conversation is part of our healing journey too, right? Recognizing like the work that we've done and how far we've come, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. Definitely. Because before I met you, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that I was in fight or flight my whole life. No idea. Just thought that was completely normal.
Yeah.
No idea. Never taught emotional regulation. Didn't know what it meant.
Yeah. Yoga was really my biggest teacher with that because I learned how to be in my body. I learned how to breathe. I learned what it feels like to feel relaxed. And then I also learned how hard I was on myself. In my yoga practice, I had this realization that I'm still perfecting in yoga. I'm still perfecting the pose and I'm trying to master it. And then I realized, oh, that's all I'm actually practicing. I'm practicing perfectionism.
Right.
Oof.
Right.
That was a really hard lesson because then I got angry at myself and then I was like, oh, okay, I got to learn how to be compassionate for myself and to cycle it back to like, oh, I'm having a hard time. And this is like my pattern of learned behavior. And like the practice of healing myself and learning self-compassion was one of the biggest lessons that I don't need to be so hard on myself. And same with you, like it's just a constant, like every day, like reminder that like I'm doing the best that I can. And I don't need to be like, it's the critical voice in my head. It comes from my parents. Like that's like their voices in my head, and which is their parents' voices in their head, you know, and then learning to heal myself means bringing in this new voice of, no, you're doing a good job. Oh, you did so many wonderful things today. Oh, that's okay that you messed up. That's okay that you didn't do it quite right, or that's okay. Like learning to bring in that soft, that gentle, that loving, kind voice into my own head was the ultimate practice of self-healing. And Kristen Neff is like the self-compassion guru in like in the therapy world. And her work is amazing. Just hearing new vocabulary, hearing the verbiage of this softer, compassionate language was new for me. And then trying to bring that into our marriage, and you know, when I'm watching you beat yourself up, or when I'm beat myself up, and to bring in that language, or when our daughter's beating herself up, to bring in the self-compassion language, even the word self-compassion, like to teach our daughter that, like you know, you're being really hard on yourself. You don't deserve that. It's okay. You can lean into love right now. Right? Do you need more love right now?
Right.
Right? Like, because ultimately, love is the greatest healer. On the, like, David Hawkins shows the spectrum of energy and emotions. And love is, actually, if you go on in my bookshelf, Power versus Force, I want the book. Grab the book. I'm going to look for the...
Do you have any idea where
black
it is?
and white. It's a black and white book, Power versus Force. But shame is the lowest emotional frequency we can possess. I think it's 20 hertz. So it's just above being dead. And if we think of what the opposite of shame is, it's love, right? And so love is the ultimate healer. And I know, like, on all of my ceremonies that I've done, like with sacred medicines, I always recognize that the depth of my pain is just the depth of my love. That's all it is. The depth of our suffering is the depth of our love that we can have in our capacity. So love is 500. It radiates at 500. And shame is 20. Enlightenment is 1,000. Pure consciousness is 1,000.
So you can see why they want to keep the collective consciousness in shame. And that's why they're pushing all this sexualization and
Well, anything that's low vibration, like hate, scorn, craving, anxiety, regret, despair,
What are those? Well,
blame.
say the numbers though.
So blame is at 30.
Despair. Think about how many people right now feel in despair.
Or during lockdowns.
It's a 50.
Yeah, that's a 50. The level 200 is where we hit courage. And courage is also that the frequency where people are able to use their third eye to be able to decipher truth from falsehood. So the collective frequency of the earth, of all of us, all of our energy was well under 200 for many, many years. And the Schulman resonance, so that the frequency of the earth has been rising in the past few years because, as more darkness comes in, it pushes us more into our light. And as a result, we've been healing ourselves and raising our consciousness and becoming awake, just becoming awake and aware of ourself and the world. That we are now being able to see the difference between what's true and what's not. We can see things more clearly of what resonates as truth and what doesn't. And anybody who's in low frequencies of these constant low states of anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, disdain, denial, guilt, regret, anxiety, craving. When you're in all these low states of frequency, you can't see truth because you haven't hit the level of courage to be able to lift your head to look. Because you're in all these low states where you literally hide your body, you hide yourself. Because when you're in those low states, there's no love. And in order to heal, you need love. It's the ultimate healer. And when we learn to bring in self-love, because we can't love others if we don't love ourselves. A lot of people have a really hard time standing up for themselves, but you can stand up for somebody else.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, I'll protect my child, but I won't stand up for myself. Like,
Or I'll stand up for like public health, but I won't stand up for my child.
Right.
Which is even worse.
Yeah.
I'll stand up for the news, but I won't stand up for myself or my child.
I think, that's the cognitive dissonance of, if you can't see truth yet, you will hold on to what you think is true so deeply and so badly because you need this to be your truth, because you're not ready to recognize what is true in the world. And that's what, when we talk about in these internal awakenings, we're learning about our own truths, and healing is recognizing all the things that you've been avoiding, neglecting, denying within yourself, because your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So when we talk about healing, we're talking about really being truthful with ourselves. And that's hard. That's really hard to do because we're looking at all the parts of ourself that we don't like, all the parts of ourself that are hurting, all the parts of ourself that have been neglected, that have been in pain. And so healing takes courage. Healing takes effort. Healing takes conscious decision making every day. And that's why it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But here's a wonderful thing with healing is that it's our truest nature because we are nature ourselves. And our body only knows it. And when we accept that we can heal, magic can start to happen. Because then we can start stepping forward and saying like, I think I am capable. Mm-hmm. I think this is possible.
100%.
I think I am starting to trust my body.
I think that's true. Absolutely. I think that when I was in my lowest of lows after my brain injury, started to think like, okay, I think I can heal. I'm going to heal. I'm going to get better is when it started. But as long as you're in that, like, Oh my God, I just had so much despair. And I look at the numbers of what they are, right? Like, you're just in so much. Like, if anyone's ever been through a lawsuit before, they just know how depleting it is in any way, in every way, shape, and form. And I look at these numbers and I'm just like, oh my God, like, it's so, I was just in like fear, grief of like who I was, who I'm not going to be anymore. How am I going to get over it? How am I going to survive? I'm not going to be the same. And then I look at like the numbers of, right, like peace, bliss,
600.
like serenity, understanding, even forgiveness, like
350.
and forgiveness and acceptance.
350, level 350.
So as soon as I started to change my way of thinking, I think we watched The Secret, and that was like a really good pump up video if you want to.
It's about the law of attraction.
If you want to just like get out of feeling sorry for yourself and being a victim, I think that's a really good place to start. And then so as soon as I just kind of was like, okay, like I just got to change I just got to get out of this like loop of like
Being the victim.
Like when you're in a lawsuit, you have to be the victim. That's the fucked up thing about it all. Like if anyone's been through this, they know what I'm talking about because it's a game. Mm-hmm. Like not a lot of people speak truth about lawsuits after they settle. I don't fucking care. It's 100% a game. You have to play the game or else you lose. It's that simple. The goal in a lawsuit is not to get better. The goal in a lawsuit is to keep proving how sick you are. You have to.
For years.
If you heal, there's no lawsuit. There's no benefit to healing. So you feel this lock, like you're in these chains of like
it perpetuates
this cycle.
Yeah, it perpetuates that
of
narrative.
Like going to a doctor, getting validation for your symptoms, and if they don't validate your symptoms, then it's just this whole crazy.
It's a very corrupt system, which only feeds more of it. So you have to have the diagnosis, and you have to have the prescriptions, the medication, as part of your treatment. In order to prove that you've been injured, you have to perpetuate this, and you can only see these people, these certain experts, to be treated.
That's funny.
Whereas the only time you really started healing was when it was all done, because you didn't have to keep the label anymore, and you didn't have to keep seeing all these experts anymore.
As soon as I stopped seeing the experts, that's when I started to heal. When I started to do my own work. But if it had have been for the experts, I would be on the streets sucking dick for drugs. If I did what they wanted. Think about that.
Explain.
Okay, sorry. So when you go through something like this, you're in an accident, the first thing that they do is they try to get you on drugs. And I have a brother that in the 90s got addicted to Oxycontin. Mm-hmm. And that really was very scary. So I kind of already was I was very awake to the pharmaceutical industry. And I knew that if I had a chance in hell of keeping my home and my life, I had to stay off of drugs. I knew that. But here's the fucked up part, is you go to the doctors and they discuss the incidents and the symptoms and the pain and everything else. And there's literally only one way that they will be able to treat you. And that is with drugs and pain medication and antidepressants and anti-anxiety.
No discussion over nutrition, stress management.
Not a question. Not even a question. What are you doing for stress? What are you doing for diet? Not even a question. very hard to get physiotherapy, or even the best part was what I really needed, which was social work. I really needed help at home. That's what I really needed.
Denied.
I really needed help at home. Like, I couldn't open my mail. I just, like, the smallest tasks were so hard. I really needed help at home. Denied. But like I couldn't even get my kid to school on time. Like, I was getting in a lot of trouble because she was coming to school during the national anthem instead of, like, it was just that 5-10 minutes. I just couldn't get out of the house on time. I just could not do it. And it's just like, you got to take this. I don't want to take this. Why? Because I had a brother that was addicted to painkillers. I've seen what it does. I don't want to do it. Well, then you must not be that sick. You must not be in that much pain, because if you were in that much pain, you would take them. Meanwhile, I'm on the floor, trying to stretch and roll out and smoking a lot of weed. And that's, a lot of people know that's a hell of a lot better to do than to be addicted to fentanyl or Oxycontin or whatever it's going to be. So then you go to the next specialist, and it's like, well, if you haven't tried this, then there's nothing I can do for you. I waited a year and a half, I think, to get into Parkwood, to the brain injury program. And I get a call one day. Let's say it's at 10 o'clock in the morning. And they say, we have an opening, but it's today at 2 o'clock. Take it or leave it. And my wife canceled her whole day. And again, she's the income earner for us. So, that's a day's lost wages, self-employed. And we go over to to Parkwood, and he says, we discuss for 5 minutes maybe? 'Cause she was there. If she wasn't there, you wouldn't believe it happened. But it might have been 5 minutes discussing the incident, the accident,
no
the
social
symptoms.
history, no real medical history. It's just the accident only.
And then, what are you taking? Nothing. Okay, here's what I can give you. And I was like, well, what's this? And he said was it a SSRI, or was that just the pain med? I think that was just the pain medication.
I think it was
I think the
med.
SSRI was at the doctor. It was just a painkiller.
He wanted to do both, though, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Anyway.
And when I said no, I'm not going to be doing that, he said, okay, well then I guess that's
we can't do anything for you.
That's the appointment. And I was like, I waited a year and a half. Like, I thought I was going to come in and do like workshops and help with my cognitive issues, which was really impaired at the time. And so I thought there would be workshops and help with
like occupational things, vestibular, physio,
yeah, I was having a lot of physical balance issues and language, speech, vision, the whole 9 yards. I mean, everything pretty much was off kilter. And the Parkwood brain
traumatic brain injury clinic
offered me painkillers, and that's it. And then told us to leave.
Year and a half of waiting to be offered more medication. Anyway, so we learned a fuck ton because we took charge of our own health as a result, and we learned everything about nutrition. We learned everything about trauma and healing and movement and emotion and resiliency and our true nature.
And then we learned all of that all over again, pretty much, right? Because we learned a lot of it in the mainstream narrative, right? When we talk about nutrition, that's when we were learning a lot about being vegans. So again, it's really hard because it's all about discernment, because there's two sides of every coin. And every road you go down, they're going to tell you something different. You're going to go down one avenue about brain injury recovery, and it's going to talk about being a vegan and how you don't want to be eating foods that create inflammation. So you should be a vegan. But meanwhile, everything plant-based creates inflammation. It's incredible.
It fucked up our hormones completely.
Right? So then 2 years later, we're completely slingshotting that backwards the opposite way. And we're going to like these crazy carnivore meat, fat, which have been our savior. Since we've just been eating like our ancestors, everything's been a game changer. But they know nothing about this in the medical industry. They have zero input regarding any of the most important things that might make you actually better.
Well, I don't think the medical system in our society is about health at all. It just keeps it's not about root cause. It's never about root cause. And I do believe that doctors are really only trained around medication and traditional medicine from John Hopkins training. We've disowned the truest nature.
Rockefeller.
Sorry, what did I?
Rockefeller.
Rockefeller. Thank you. If you don't know anything about that, that's a whole other rabbit hole you do need to research and understand for yourself of the history behind that.
Everything education and medical related is backed by one person. So everything, it's just so easy. Like, it's just so simple how it could have all been done. Every institution is based and educated from one person. So every doctor is educated from the same book, right? Who wrote that book? That's what's so fucked up, and people are just like, oh, like, it's just so funny because it's so easy.
Well, and then we idolize this profession, right? And we've outsourced all of authority over our own autonomy to this one profession because we believe that they are the all-knowers.
And
Whereas
it's just such a joke.
It is, because we are the all-knowers of our own body. Yeah. You need to learn to master your own body and understand what is happening.
And
mind. Because your mind and your body are one and the same. They impact each other. And if you don't know how to regulate and know what you're thinking and know how you're feeling, you're going to continuously outsource help when you are the greatest resource for your own healing.
Yeah.
So all of the things that have happened in the past few years just continue to send us on this trajectory of becoming the masters of our own being and healing ourselves from our emotions to our physical body, to all the ailments that we've experienced, to the labels that we no longer identify as, to our deep spiritual connection, to true nature and the divinity of just the divine, the cosmos. And then, moving us to this farm and recognizing that a lot of our nutrition, a lot of the healing of our nourishment comes from nature, and the health of the soil means the health of our gut. And so learning how to garden and grow our own food and just have a relationship with the source of our food has shifted our healing dramatically. And not only for the health of our physical body, but our connection to nature is our connection to ourselves. And
the pride that I feel going into the garden, it's so funny because I feel like such a loser.
She was never a gardener. You were never a gardener.
And I go in there and I'm like, wow. Wow, look at these pumpkins. Wow, look at these beans. I'm just so, I'm literally crying right now thinking about all of the abundance that we have. We created it ourselves, and I get so frustrated hearing people talk about how they can't do it, because I know people that send us pictures and say you inspired me to do my own garden and look what I got, and it's amazing.
Well, joy spreads.
It's amazing to see people in these city backyards growing their own food and the joy that they have from getting that first harvest. And that's what it is. It's not that, I think everyone should be able to feed themselves and not buy anything else ever, and that's the end of the story. It's not even about that. It's just about, like you just said, the connection and doing it and learning how that is life. I promise that you were not put here to get up and go fucking work at the hospital and 9 to 5. I promise that's not why you're here. That's why you hate going to work, because you're not born to do that. You're born to enjoy the earth that was created for us. We are not outsiders to this place. We are this place. This place is us. We are nature. Being in nature is what we are meant to do. That's why you feel so fucking good in nature.
Yeah, because you are nature. I truly believe that our bodies know how to do two things really well: protect itself and heal itself. And if you're constantly in a state of protection, you're going to create a lot of dis-ease, so your body's just not in a state of ease.
Well, sorry, just let me interrupt though. Remember I think it was in the last one you gave the definition of obesity in that book. Like, not the definition, the ailments. And one of them was like protection, remember?
Yeah, obesity, being overweight is a state of protection. You're guarding because you don't feel safe. Whereas our true nature, we are safe. We are whole. And once you learn like that, you don't have to be in survival states, that you are creating that for yourself, but you are truly safe. And then you learn that everything is energy and everything is frequency, and whatever you're putting out, you're attracting back. You learn what your karma is. So in the Vedas, they taught, which is like ancient Sanskrit texts, and they talk a lot about karma and how we have what's called like a karmic bank. I wrote down the word that they use. In Sanskrit, they say that the score is held in our cosmic account, and this is the Sanchita karma. And that is where we hold all of our karma, and they call them the merits and the demerits. So all the good karma and the bad karma, say. And in Hinduism, they believe that in reincarnation, and that in order to exit out of the reincarnation cycle, we need to hit self-actualization or enlightenment. And in order to hit enlightenment, we have to clear all karma. So in this karmic bank, you have where the goal is not to get a lot in the bank. We actually want to hit zero. We want to hit the 0 point. And when we hit the 0 point, we've cleared all karma, we've hit wisdom, and we've hit into self-actualization. We've hit into that transcendent state of liberation. Now, in our life, all the karma is not that I've done something bad, so something bad's happening to me. Think of it more as, why do I keep having this happen to me? Why does this keep coming back up in my life? Why do I keep dating men that aren't good to me? Why do I keep having friends that hurt me? Why do I keep getting fired from these jobs? Why do I keep
losing weight and getting fat again?
Yeah, like why does this cycle keep happening? Why do I keep attracting this into my life?
Or cancer coming back. Think of those people that have had cancer multiple times.
Right. Yeah, I should read Louise Hay's. You want to read that?
Because I hear about that like too often, and that's like, man, like that's got to be a like some kind of an energy karmic thing, because there's just you're just
cancer. Louise Hay says is deep hurt, long-standing resentment, deep secret or grief eating away at the self, carrying hatreds. That expression of like, what's the use? Deep hurt, carrying hatreds. Well, that's like, again, like all, like I truly believe dis-ease is emotional suppression. And again, at the bottom of our pain is the depth of our love. So in order to heal the depths of our pain, we need to bring ourselves back into a state of love. And to be able to look into the corners of ourselves, the depths of the corners of the places that we don't want to see, and love them. Love all of the parts of us that are hurting, because that is what will heal us. So for all the karma that we have in our life, these cycles of karma, it's learning that we are how to break those cycles of karma so that we're not constantly repeating them and then reincarnating to learn the hard lessons, the same lessons, because we're not learning the lessons. Ultimately, that's what it is that you're learning the lessons of your karma. So if I'm constantly struggling with self-deprecation, self-criticism. My karma is I constantly hurt myself. And so learning self-compassion and self-kindness, I'm learning to break that cycle by recognizing that I am worthy of love. So that's how I've been breaking the shame cycle within my own life and within my own generational trauma. I'm breaking the shame cycle by learning self-compassion. That is like, that's been like deep, deep healing for me. So in the Vedas, to stop reincarnation, to stop that I don't want to keep coming back here, you know. But the reason why we come in, the reason why our soul comes into human form is that these bodies that we're in are the vehicle. They are the vehicle to clear karma. They're the vehicle is where we learn so much.
I think it's vessel.
They call it a vehicle. Vessel, whatever, like either or. Meat sack, your avatar, your avatar in this life, right? It's just this body that we're using as the vehicle to get us to the lessons in order to clear the karma.
Yeah.
So that our soul can...
Yeah. And you know, like, the concussions are a good example of that, right?
Yes.
Like, I can't tell you, like, we've kind of talked about this before, but the amount of, like, head smacks to, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Wake up.
Is, like...
Yeah.
Pretty fucked up.
We both have had concussions, but I also think that that was partly for us to also learn what the other person was experiencing. Because you had the traumatic brain injury from your car accident, and like I was primary caregiving for a lot of that while like supporting you, and then when I got injured, we had to switch, and so you got to learn what it felt like to be in my role, and I got to learn to be what it felt like in your role, and to experience significant pain and disorientation and a dependency. And so those were great lessons. But just the fact of every time you get injured, or every time you get sick, those are the greatest lessons.
Yeah.
Those are the greatest lessons if you learn from them.
And I'll tell you what, no matter what in the whole world you have, your health is just so... You can have everything in the world, but if you don't have your health, it's so fucking scary.
Yeah. Well, you can't do anything.
It's so scary to go from being super fit and very healthy and like a warrior to going to being completely dependent and like just difficulties like with basic functioning. Like it's so hard to go from that and like with your identity struggle of who are you with this new situation, with these new cards you're dealt with. And I think for me, part of my healing was letting go of the ego of like these things I had thought I had to work towards for my whole life, like to work so hard to have all of the things that I think you're supposed to have. I just thought you were supposed to do it. Like I just made fun of everybody that was doing it the wrong way, but really I was doing the same thing. Like, right? Like, you're all working, you're going to Western, you're working your 9 to 5s so that you can have your house and your cars and blah, blah, blah. And I'm laughing at you because I know that your Western degree's shit. And I know that your 9 to 5 is retarded and that you can do it way better yourself and enjoy life more. But really, it's for the same thing. It's so I could have a Jeep and a nice house and a motorcycle. Right? Like, it's just ego, the same thing. It's all ego driven. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and you have to sell your Jeep and you know, it's either you're going to lose your car or your house, take your pick. Well, you check your ego pretty fucking quick. It's pretty fucking, and all of a sudden when you don't care anymore and like, you've just been like, I guess this is rock bottom.
You prided yourself on, because you were a motorcycle instructor for so long and you know, you had a really beautiful Jeep, and, you know, the Jeep owners have the Jeep Wave, and, you know, and being you couldn't ride your motorcycle when you were sick either. So it's like you've lost a big part of your identity and what you've built up for years. And
Yeah, not working out anymore, or like most of the time when I was working out, I was sick.
it was
I was
making
just
you more
pushing
sick.
myself to do it because I wanted to be that same person, but it was just making me more sick. And then to make it even worse, they're filming.
During the
Right?
lawsuit.
They're filming
yeah.
all that, and then you're like in
Using it
trouble.
against you.
Right? It's just so, like, the whole fucking thing is just so fucked up.
Oh,
The
yeah.
whole, like, idea
Personal
of
injury lawsuits, is like that whole system is so corrupt. So corrupt. We learned the hard way. But that we need to learn those lessons because it shot us even more forward into deeper healing and spiritual healing.
Definitely.
But one
Definitely.
thing I wanted to point out that was significant in learning all that is that during the lawsuit for you, Jess, you aged greatly.
Don't
from
tell
the stress.
everybody.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing. Here's what's so fucking cool about it is that when the lawsuit was done and we bought the farm and we were just being out here and you're in creation mode and with the animals, you like unaged. You reversed it.
I also reversed it with, like, I do believe that your thinking is everything. So, like, when you can take your stress level back and you can regain that part of yourself. But guys, there's also, like, we talked about it. I'm telling you, you've got it in you every day. Your body makes it all for free. It's called urine. And I'm telling you right now that it's full of fucking delicious stem cells that make my face look younger. And I like can't stress enough how simple it is if you could just get over the fact that it's piss.
I think we've
Like
again,
today, Jen, okay, I don't know what happened. Okay, I know what happened. Yesterday, we were making ketchup. Jen was in the 10% yesterday. So yesterday was a day that I had to flip my script and be a better person because she was having a tough emotional day. So she ditched me yesterday night making ketchup, but that's besides the point. Before that, I sliced the tip of my thumb off after I super sharpened a knife while I was making cutting the tomatoes. And where was I going with that?
it started with pee.
Thank you. I love you. So, this morning, I smacked my thumb in my sleep. I've got this bandage on it, but I smacked my thumb somewhere. I don't remember what happened. And I woke up in this anyway, I was in tons of pain and I was just like, and then I fell back asleep somehow. And normally I'm up earlier than Jen. And this morning she's like, Jess, you gotta wake up. And because she woke me up out of this crazy state, I went upstairs and I was trying to piece together, like, you know, when you're trying to like piece together yourself, like, I'm awake now, like I'm not dreaming, because I was in this crazy dream with my tractor and a knife. And anyway, so I'm halfway through my pee and then I realize, fuck, I forgot to catch my pee. And so today I'm getting ready for the podcast and
Part of her morning routine.
My face looks like shit. And I said to Jen, fuck, I didn't put piss on my face this morning. And look at me. Like, I can totally tell. I'm telling you guys, I'm giving you $1 million advice for free.
Weston Price Foundation on their
Wise
the Wise
Traditions.
Traditions podcast, they have a woman that's on there that talks about urine therapy. I just, we've gone down every rabbit hole with health and we try all the different things, like we just try it all. And, we see what works because we learn instead of just like turning our nose up at things. We try it and we like.
I want to tell you guys about the root canal. Can we talk about the root canal?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so obviously the pee has to come from somewhere. Like, you don't just start pissing on your face out of nowhere. So the year 2000 rolls around and I move out to Banff and I broke my wrist skiing. And then the next day I had planned to go to Calgary. So we're off to Calgary and I'm on painkillers and I've got this broken wrist. And one of the girlfriends of mine that I had randomly met up with, Lisa, what's up, girl? She knows the story. We're in Calgary that day to get pierced. And so I get my tongue pierced. The worst decision you could ever make in your life. And I knew it was a bad decision, but it was the cool thing to do. So I get my tongue pierced, and a couple years later, I'm eating dinner, and I bite down on the ball. And I know people that have tongue rings that have done this before. And I split one of my front, like, I think it's my canine tooth. I split my canine tooth in half. Awful. Just disgusting. So, you also are, like, no longer on your parents' health plans anymore. You're in your early 20s, so, things are different. I know I went to the dentist, but I probably didn't do what I should have done to make sure that down the road I wasn't going to have any bigger problem. So, anyway, this tooth kind of always bothered me, but I didn't, not that bad. And then all of a sudden, I get these pains in it, and I go to the dentist, and it's this old Polish holistic dentist. She's awesome, and she's giving me, the version of what's going to happen, and it's like, $5,000 minimum to have it removed, and then you put the implant in because it's below the sinus, and I couldn't leave it open. I had to put a replacement tooth in, or else the sinus is going to fall. It's this big production, and I'm against all of this. I've had one root canal. I had it pulled out, so I'm really against any of this. I know it's not good for me. And I'm so hesitant, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do this. I need some time. Then she pulls me aside and she whispers, if you want to avoid surgery, you can cure this with your own pee. And I was like, pardon?
Tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more, pardon? And then she says, you've got to put pee down your nose. Because it's in the sinus, right? So this is where the infection is. So, okay, so now I'm listening. She's got my attention. So about a month goes by, and it's still really bothering me, and I'm kind of putting it off, and I know that I've got to figure something out. So this is when the whole urine therapy thing starts. So about a month later, randomly, the next podcast pops up, and it's fucking urine therapy. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me. Like, there's got to be something meant to be here. So I listened to it. It sounds really fascinating. I do some more research based on that. Now I'm convinced that this is a real thing. And I've had the ability to cure many things in my life in the past with this, but I have not known about it. So I tell Jen, she's disgusted. The first day I come downstairs and I go to kiss her, and she says, did you just piss on your face? And I said, yes. And she said, did you wash it off? And I said, no. And then she pushed me away like, ew. And I was laughing. I was like, do you smell it? But you didn't smell it, I don't think. You were just really grossed out by it.
I have smelled it on your face.
Have you really?
Yeah.
No way.
I have. But sometimes I don't notice.
But I think that's when it was like when I freshly put it on, right? Not like an hour later. Because I don't think there's a smell to it.
No, it's just when it's fresh that I can and the dogs don't like to be they're like,
which is
oh,
perfect. Because if you have a dog that likes to lick your face, piss on your face, and then guess what? The dog won't want to lick it anymore. That's fact. So anyway, I start this 2-week protocol, okay? And I mean, when I say I'm going to do something, I generally do it. So for 2 fucking weeks, I'm 100%, and I'm taking a syringe, and I'm shooting like about 1.5, 2 millimeters. Is that milliliters? Milliliters.
Yeah.
Down my nose into my sinus. Okay. Yep. Head back down my sinus. Both of them. More probably in the right one though, because that's the one where the side of it where the infection is. And then I take a sip of pee and I swish it around my mouth for like 30 seconds or so. That's tough the first time. But after the first, here's my recommendation. The day before you start, drink bone broth or something
salty.
So fucking salty. Like overdo it on the salt, and then you'll have no problem. It'll just taste like soup. Like it's fine. I promise. The salt makes the world of difference. So swish it around my mouth, spit it out. And at the same time, I decide I've got this skin tag on my eyelid that my wife keeps fucking pointing out to me. Every fucking day, it seems like. She says to me, hey, what's that thing on your eyelid? Hey, you got something on your eyelid. Hey, there's a growth on your eyelid.
Because
hey,
I think about your third eye and what's going on.
You have a skin tag on your eyelid. And then I've got this this mark on my...
underneath your eye. So again, see, there's something with the...
Anyway,
there's something
I have this other mark underneath my eye. And then I have this weird, like, starting of a mole kind of on the, like, one, like, sort of tip of my nose. Like, almost like a freckle, but it's got substance to it. You know, like a pimple, but it's not a pimple. Okay. So I do the nose drop, I do the mouth swish, and then I take my finger and I dab pee on these spots. And within 2 weeks, the pain in my tooth is not gone, but noticeably different. I went from hardly being able to press on that to like, I can like press on it and there's like...
You couldn't even chew on it for a long time and you could chew on it again.
Okay, so within 2 weeks...
Infection's going down. Yeah.
Within 2 weeks, there's definitely progress. And in 2 weeks, that skin tag is gone. Gone. Okay? It was actually making my eyelids sag a little bit, which is why she kept pointing it out. And then it's gone. The little imperfection under my eye also like almost gone. And this little thing on the end of my nose in 2 weeks has like pushed itself out to the point where I can like grab it with tweezers, and I kind of pulled it, and it had like a root on it, if you will.
It like came all the way out, including the root. Like her body,
and it went like
yeah,
like it did like a okay, and then so subsequently, I was then doing the drops, doing the swish, and now I'm just washing my face in piss. Like I'm just leaned over the sink and I'm just
it's good. It's all good.
And like rubbing it on my neck, under my chin, because I'm really aware of a saggy jowl. It's like my fucking... I have like a jazzerciser. I'm very fucking worried about getting old and having a saggy jowl. So I'm really working on this. So I'm pissing all over my jowl and in my eyes. Italians all have bags under their eyes. They all have fucking old looking faces. It's just a thing. So I'm convinced now I'm just like bathing in piss basically every morning. And then I just let it dry. And then it almost feels like tight. You know, like after it dries, it's like tight. And I know you women know what I'm talking about because sometimes you get this. I'm trying to think of like what the treatment would be that I've had in the past where I get it done and then it's all of a sudden all nice and tight. Can you think of that?
When I use like the clay face mask.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Thank you. It's like it's like you have your clay mask on and it's all tight. That's how it feels after your face dries with the pee on it. It feels tight. So recently, I can't tell you how many compliments and how many men are hitting on me in my coveralls and how many people are telling me that my face looks so good. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like...
Comments a lot.
And I always say to people, well, I have a really... What do you do? Do you really want to know? Oh, yes. Oh, I do really want to know. Okay? And I say, really? Do you really want to know? I'll do anything. Anything you say? Anything. Okay? And I told this one girl and she was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And you know what? This poor girl, I could solve her problem overnight because she's just got too much makeup and I could solve your problem. But people are too fucking convinced. You know what? This is how I'm going to break it down. It's so fucking interesting. People have no problem going into Shoppers fucking Drug Mart and picking up off of the shelf this product that's made by one of the big 6 pharmaceutical companies. At the end of the day, we just watched a video on who owns and controls what. So you're buying this product that's controlled by Monsanto, and you have no problem every day lathering that on your face. But I tell you to put your own piss that comes from your own body, and you're fucking disgusted. Think about that for 1 fucking second. You'll inject. You begged for fucking, give me your vaccine, daddy. Give it to me. You begged for it. Oh, I need my 3rd, 4th, 5th. You begged for the 1st and 2nd one. I know people that did. Oh, how does your face look so good? Piss. Fuck that shit. You guys are so fucking brainwashed.
You're so uncomfortable with your own body.
Okay. We
Scared
are
of your own body.
terrified. And I've been there. Because I was terrified of my mind when I was sick. I was so afraid of what my body was becoming, of how I was feeling. I was so scared. But the moment that I realized that I have everything in me that I need to heal. It's all in me. It's in my head, mentally.
It's in your heart.
It's for sure in your heart. Mm-hmm. Once I realized that I had it all here, I just have to believe it.
And do the work.
And do the work. That's the first thing, is believing it. I have to believe it. I do believe that there's something to do with Jesus in there. I do believe that you have to believe in the higher power of Christ of some kind. And you have to do the work. You have to do the work. You have to get up every day. You have to let half your piss go. You have to collect the good and then let go of the last bit. And then you have to wash your face in it. You have to do it.
I think the bigger lesson with all of that too is just you have to trust your body. Like, I think there's just this great fear of impending doom around. You're going to get sick. You're going to die of cancer. You're going to get injured. You're going to get hurt. Like, there's just so much fear that keeps us in this state of stagnation or immobile, or like stuck from moving forward, or not willing to try things, or always needing certain things in order to feel safer in your body. But the truth is, your body is so fucking perfect. It is nature. You are nature. You are a creature of nature, and nature knows healing. And so your divine right is healing. And when you put trust back into your life, when you put your energy into focusing on trust rather than focusing on the fear of possible sickness, let me tell you what the frequency of trust is. 250. 250 hertz. Okay, fear is 100. So when you're in trust, you're well above the ability to see what's truth from false. And when you're in fear, you're blind to it. So if somebody offers you the solution when you're scared, you'll take it, not knowing that it may actually be hurtful for you. But when you're in a state of fear, you're in a state of desperation. But when you elevate yourself to just trusting the cosmos, the divine nature within yourself and within the energy, like that we're all connected into pure consciousness, you don't worry. You don't need to. You have divine knowing. Mm-hmm. I think that that's part of the spiritual healing that we're on, is like looking back into our own, trusting our own divine nature. So the cool thing is we can heal ourselves. The choice is yours, whether or not you want to put the effort in. And if you put the effort in, that means that you matter. Mm-hmm. And if you matter, then you have love for yourself.
Mm-hmm. But that also means you have to be willing to relinquish your V card. And I don't mean your virginity card. I mean your victim card. You have to be willing to give up your victim card.
Well, when you let go, like when you got injured, Jess, and like when I got injured too, like or whenever we have big life changes, our old self dies and a new self is reborn. And anybody that was part of your old self that is not doing their own work and not ready to see your rebirth, they will stay stuck in wanting that old version of you back. Mm-hmm. So they are, because now they're in this frequency, but when you heal and you go through this rebirth and you kill off the old version of you because it's no longer needed, it's no longer of your highest good, they stay in the lower frequency and you move to the next frequency.
Mm-hmm. That's why all of a sudden you have a relationship with someone that you're no longer connected to, right? Mm-hmm. It was like when we were really waking up fully during COVID. It was like anybody that was like you and me lost touch for a minute. right? Because we were at different on different frequencies. I was I was moving here, but I was also having like hate too because I was like so mad. But you were in another place with other people, and we weren't vibing because we were believing two different things.
Yeah, we were on different frequencies.
And then, like I grabbed you so hard and I fucking pulled you up to my frequency, whether you were liking it or not. I was like, you're
Kicking
fucking
and
coming.
screaming.
Yeah. I'm like, you're fucking coming. And then with all this healing bullshit, you did the same fucking thing to me. I was like, wake up! You're coming with me! And you're like, Black Lives Matter! And I was like, you're coming! And then you got here, and then you were like, oh, fuck. And then you were like, okay,
It shot me
Jess.
into the spiritual awakening.
Yes, and then you were like, Jess, you're coming with me. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then I was like,
Just keep slingshotting each other, to propelling the other person. But that's our soul contract.
for better or worse.
Yeah, that's our soul contract.
Yeah, it's funny because we're just constantly like, neither of us wants to leave the other person behind, but we've got to move on. Like we're here to do shit. I'm like, I got shit to do. I'm on Tartaria, mud floods. I don't have fucking time to waste with this shit. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone knows anything about what I just said, I want to hear about it in the comments. But so make sure you do.
And if you don't, what's a good resource for them to look into any of this?
No, if you don't, DM me and we'll talk.
Okay.
Then I don't want to say too much.
Okay. Where are we at for time?
It's an hour 11.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, we'll wrap this up. I just want to say, if for those that live in London, Ontario, Canada, if you didn't know this, the MS rates are very high in that area, and Louise Hay, which I thought was interesting, like why would MS be so high in London? And when I looked up what it means in Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, because it's emotional, she said it's mental hardness, hard-heartedness, iron will, inflexibility, and fear. And London was voted the least happy city in all of Canada. Mm-hmm. So
that's crazy.
You can feel the energy when you drive into London, like especially living outside of it now. Like, oh, it's so dense when we go into London. So wherever you are, like whatever energy you're around, whether it's the city or your neighborhood, it all has a hive. That hive is energy. And whatever you let your energy, wherever you go around, whatever you let yourself be around, you absorb that energy of that hive. And in order to elevate yourself, you might need to find new tribes or new hives to orient yourself around to create a new homeostasis to help shift your energy into a new frequency.
Or make your, like, this is what I can't stress enough for people, is making your home.
It starts within. Absolutely.
Right? Like
yeah.
If you can make your home, like I know even when we lived in London, our home in London was out of this world. Out of that world. Like you went into the backyard and you weren't there. We had our own vibe, our own energy. You can make your home in the city, I think, like
you can elevate the frequency in that neighborhood too.
For sure. But you can put like a fortress around you too. You know what I mean? Like you can protect yourself from that bad energy by having, so much awesome energy and flow in your own home that you've created.
One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that my fear is one of my greatest teachers. And my fear is still me. It's my shadow. It's the other part of the yin and yang. And learning to walk the way of being here is to learn to be in the center of the two. And not needing or desiring or being in a state of suffering in order to strive for something, but just to be present, just to be. And that is one of the greatest lessons of learning just to be me, is just to let myself be. So I guess with that, with our own healing journey, it's not done. We have lots to do. We have a lot of growth and a lot of ascension work still to keep going. If I can leave you off with a recommendation for your different areas of well-being, I wrote some thoughts down. Let's see. Physical, for your physical healing journey, believe you can heal. Trust that you are divine nature. And when you shift your energy into knowing that you are capable, you will be. Tommy John and Dr. Cassie Huckabee, they were wonderful teachers of learning how incredible our bodies are. And Dr. Cassie always says that your life is your medicine, and I truly believe that.
Yeah.
And they're wonderful to follow. Emotional healing, learn your emotions and how they feel in your body. There is no such thing as a bad emotion. It's just energy in motion. Some are harder to feel than others. But they all have a purpose, and they all need to move. Mental, learning to focus your mind. We are in this constant state of distraction and stimulation and dopamine hits that we have a hard time with stillness, and we have a hard time with quiet, and we have a hard time with boredom. And learning to slow down is a way that we learn to quiet things down. And so learning activities that focus your mind into a bit more stillness, or without all the distraction and just focused on one exercise, is wonderful for your mind. And lastly, spiritual healing, return to prayer. You don't have to know how to pray. You don't even have to know if it's right. I had no idea what I was doing. I would just say, I pray for my own health, right? I pray that I will get through this really tough time. The moment I shifted my energy to focusing on prayer, it changed my course of direction, because I wasn't holding myself in a ruminating mind of fear and despair. I was shifting it to creating a new path.
Also serving others too, right? Helps, I think, to...
Yeah, but we're all here to be of service to each other.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
That's a big lesson for me, because sometimes I'm not like that. I don't like people.
And yet you have so much love for everybody. You are the most giving and generous person I've ever met. And yet you say, I hate people. I don't think that's true.
I think I'm just an introvert at heart, and I just need to, you know what I mean? I just need to be not around a lot of people a lot of the time.
I think we do way better in nature because we are nature, but we also need community, and the higher vibration we go, the more that we attract the same energy. So with that, our mission is to heal. That's why we're here. That's why we're human. That's why our soul came into these bodies, and we are here to do the work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You are very capable. So with love, that's it.
Peace out, homies.